Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapatakalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashattaya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. People. Okay, Hare Krishna. So we continue from chapter 25, devastating rainfall in Vrindavan. When Indra understood that the sacrifice offered by the cowherd man in Vrindavan was stopped by Krishna, he became angry, and he vented his anger upon the inhabitants of Vrindavan, who were headed by Nanda Maharaj. Although Indra knew perfectly well that Krishna was personally protecting them, as the director of different kinds of clouds, Indra called for the Samvartaka. This cloud is invited when there is need to devastate the whole cosmic manifestation. The Samvartaka was ordered by Indra to go over Vrindavan and inundates the whole area with an extensive flood. Demonically, Indra thought himself to be the all-powerful supreme personality. When demons become very powerful, they defy the supreme controller, personality of Godhead. Indra, though not a demon, was puffed up by his material position, and he wanted to challenge the supreme controller. He thought himself, at least for the time being, as powerful as Krishna. Indra said, "Just see the impudence of the inhabitants of Vrindavan. They are simply inhabitants of the forest, but being infatuated with their friend Krishna, who is nothing but an ordinary human being, they have dared to defy the demigods." Krishna has declared in the Bhagavad Gita that the worshippers of the demigods are not very intelligent. He has also declared that one has to give up all kinds of worship and simply concentrate on Krishna consciousness. Krishna's invoking the anger of Indra and later on chastising him is a clear indication to his devotees that those who are engaged in Krishna consciousness have no need to worship any demigod, even if it's found that the demigod has become angry. Krishna gives his devotees all protection, and they should completely depend on his mercy. Indra cursed the action of the inhabitants of Vrindavan and said, "By defying the authority of the demigods, the inhabitants of Vrindavan will suffer in material existence. Having neglected the sacrifice to the demigods, they cannot cross over the impediments of the ocean of material misery." Indra further declared, "These cowherd men in Vrindavan have neglected my authority on the advice of this talkative boy who is known as Krishna. He is nothing but a child, and by believing this child they have enraged me. Thus he ordered the Samvartaka cloud to go and destroy the prosperity of Vrindavan. The man of Vrindavan, said Indra, have become too puffed up over their material opulence and their confidence in the presence of their tiny friend, Krishna. He is simply talkative, childish, and unaware of the complete cosmic situation, although he is thinking himself very advanced in knowledge. Because they have taken Krishna so seriously, they must be punished, and so I have ordered the Samvartaka cloud to go there and inundate the place. They should be destroyed with their cows. It is indicated here that in the village or outside the towns, the inhabitants must depend on the cows for their prosperity. When the cows are destroyed, the people are destitute to all kinds of opulences. Are destitute of all kinds of opulences. When King Indra ordered the Samvartaka and companion clouds to go to the Vrindavan, the clouds were afraid of the assignment. But King Indra assured them, "You go ahead, and I will also go, riding on my elephant, accompanied by great storms, and I shall apply all my strength to punish the inhabitants of Vrindavan." Ordered by King Indra, all the dangerous clouds appeared above Vrindavan and began to pour water incessantly, with all their strength and power. There was constant lightning and thunder, blowing of severe wind and incessant falling of rain. The rainfall seemed to fall like piercing sharp arrows. By pouring water as thick as pillars without cessation, the clouds gradually filled all the lands in Vrindavan with water, and there was no visible distinction between higher and lower land. The situation was very dangerous, especially for the animals. The rainfall was accompanied by great winds, and every living creature in Vrindavan began to tremble from the severe cold. Unable to find any other source of deliverance, they all approached Govinda to take shelter to his lotus feet. The cows, especially being much aggrieved from the heavy rain, bowed down their heads, and taking their calves underneath their bodies, they approached the Supreme Personality of Godhead to take shelter of his lotus feet. At that time, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan began to pray to Lord Krishna. "Dear Krishna," they prayed, "you are all powerful and you are very affectionate to your devotees. Now please protect us who have been much harassed by angry Indra." Upon hearing their prayer, Krishna could also understand that Indra, being bereft of his sacrificial honor, was pouring down rain that was accompanied by heavy pieces of ice and strong winds. Although all this was out of season, Krishna understood that this was deliberate exhibition of anger by Indra. He therefore concluded, "This demigod who thinks himself supreme has shown his great power, but I shall answer him according to my position, and I shall teach him that he is not autonomous in managing universal affairs. I am the Supreme Lord over all, and I shall thus take away his false prestige which has arisen from his power. The demigods are my devotees, and therefore it is not possible for them to forget my supremacy. But somehow or other he has become puffed up with his material power, and thus is now maddened. I shall act in such a way to relieve him of this false prestige. I shall give protection to my pure devotees in Vrindavan, who are at present completely at my mercy, and whom I have taken completely under my protection. I will save them by my mystic power." Thinking in this way, Lord Krishna immediately picked up Govardhan Hill with one hand, exactly as a child picks up a mushroom from the ground. Thus he exhibited his transcendental pastime of lifting Govardhan Hill. Lord Krishna then began to address his devotees. "My dear brothers, my dear father, my dear inhabitants of Vrindavan, you can now safely enter under the umbrella of Govardhan Hill, which is I have just lifted. Do not be afraid of the hill and think that it will fall from my hand. You have been too much afflicted from the heavy rain and strong wind. Therefore, I have lifted this hill, which will protect you exactly like a huge umbrella. I think this is a proper arrangement to relieve you from your immediate distress. Be happy along with your animals underneath this great umbrella." Being assured by Lord Krishna, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan entered beneath the great hill and appeared to be safe along with their prosperity and animals. The inhabitants of Vrindavan and their animals remained there for 1 week without being disturbed by hunger, thirst, or any other discomforts. They were simply astonished to see how Krishna was holding up the mountain with the little finger of his left hand. Seeing the extraordinary mystic power of Krishna, Indra, the king of heaven, was thunderstruck and baffled in his determination. He immediately called for all the clouds and asked them to desist. When the sky became completely cleared of all clouds and there was sunrise again, the strong wind stopped. At that time, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as the lifter of Govardhan Hill, said, "My dear cowherd man, now you can leave and take your wives, children, cows, and valuables, because everything is ended. Then inundation has gone down along with the swelling waters of the river." Hare Krishna. Vishnu Prabhu, you can continue. Hare Krishna, Hare Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. All the men loaded their valuables on carts and slowly left their cows and other paraphernalia. After they had cleared out everything, Lord Krishna very slowly replaced Govardhana Hill, exactly in the same position as it had been before. When everything was done, all the inhabitants of Vrindavana approached Krishna and embraced him with great ecstasy. The gopis, being naturally very affectionate to Krishna, began to offer him curd mixed with their tears, and they poured incessant blessings upon him. Mother Yashoda, Mother Rohini, Nanda and Balarama, who is the strongest of the strong, embraced Krishna one after the other, and from spontaneous feelings of affection, blessed him over and over again. In the heavens, different demigods from different planetary systems, such as Siddhaloka, Gandharvaloka, and Charanaloka, also began to show their complete satisfaction. They poured showers of flowers on the surface of the earth and sounded different conch shells. There was beating of drums, and being inspired by godly feelings, residents of Gandharvaloka began to play on their tamburas to please the Lord. After this incident, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, surrounded by his dear friends and animals, returned to his home. As usual, the gopis began to chant the glorious pastimes of Lord Krishna with great feeling, for they were chanting from the heart. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 26th chapter of Krishna, devastating the import in Vrindavana. Chapter 26 Wonderful Krishna. Without understanding the intricacies of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and without knowing his uncommon spiritual opulences, the innocent cowherd boys and men of Vrindavana began to discuss the wonderful activities of Krishna, which surpassed the activities of all men. One of them said, "My dear friends, considering his wonderful activities, how is it possible that such an uncommon boy would come and live with us in Vrindavana? It is really not possible. Just imagine, he is now only 7 years old. How was it possible for him to lift Govardhana Hill in one hand and hold it up just like the king of elephants holds a lotus flower? To lift a lotus flower is a most insignificant thing for an elephant, and similarly, Krishna lifted Govardhana Hill without exertion when he was simply a small baby and could not even see properly. He killed a great demon, Pudana, while sucking her breast. He also sucked out her life air. Krishna killed the Pudana demon exactly as eternal time kills a living creature in due course. When he was only 3 months old, he was sleeping underneath a hand-driven cart. Being hungry for his mother's breast, he began to cry and throw his legs upwards, and from the kicking of his small feet, the cart immediately broke apart and fell to pieces. When he was only 1 year old, he was carried away by the Trinavarta demon, disguised as a whirlwind, and although he was taken very high in the sky, he simply hung on the neck of the demon and forced him to fall from the sky and immediately died. Once his mother, being disturbed by his stealing butter, tied him to a wooden mortar, and the child pushed it towards a pair of trees known as Yamala Arjuna and caused them to fall. Once, when he was engaged in tending the calves in the forest, along with his elder brother Balarama, a demon named Bagasura appeared, and Krishna at once bifurcated, bifurcated the demon's beaks. When the demon known as Vatsasura entered among the calves tended by Krishna with a desire to kill him, he immediately detected the demon, killed him, and threw him into a tree. When Krishna, along with his brother Balarama, entered the Talavana forest, the demon known as Denugasura, in the shape of an ass, attacked them and was immediately killed by Balama, who caught his hind legs and threw him in a palm tree. Although the Demighasura demon was assisted by his cohorts, also in the shape of asses, all were killed, and the Talavana forest was then opened for the use of animals and inhabitants of Vrindavan. When Pralambasura entered amongst his cowherd boyfriends, he caused his death by Balarama. Thereafter, Krishna saved his friends and cows from the severe forest fire, and he chastised the Kaliya serpent in the lake of Yamuna and forced him to leave the vicinity of the Yamuna river. He thereby made the water of the Yamuna poisonless. Another one of the friends of Nanda Maharaj said, "My dear Nanda, we do not know why we are so attracted by your son Krishna. We want to forget him, but this is impossible. We are we so naturally affectionate towards him. Just imagine how wonderful it is. On one hand, he is only a boy of 7 years old, and on the other hand, there is a huge hill like Govardhana Hill, and he lifted it so easily. Oh Nanda Maharaj, we are now in great doubt. Your son Krishna must be one of the demigods. He is not at all an ordinary boy. Maybe he is the supreme personality of Godhead." On hearing the praises of the cowherd men in Vrindavana, King Nanda said, "My dear friends, in reply to you, I can simply present the statement of Gargamuni so that your doubts may be cleared. When he came to perform the name-giving ceremony, he said that this boy descends in different periods of time, in different colors, and that this time he has appeared in Vrindavana in a dark color and is known as Krishna. Previously he has white color, then red color, then yellow color. He also said that this boy was once the son of Vasudeva. Uh, Once the son of Vasudeva, and everyone who knows of his previous birth calls him Vasudeva. Actually, he said that my son has many varieties of names according to his different qualities and activities. Gargacharya assured me that this boy will be all auspicious for my family and that he will be able to give transcendental blissful pleasure to all the cowherd men and cows in Vindavana. Even though we will be put into various kinds of difficulties, by the grace of this boy, we will be very easily freed from them. He also said that formerly this boy saved the world from an unregulated condition, and he saved all honest men from the hands of the dishonest. He also said that any fortunate man who becomes attached to this boy, Krishna, is never vanquished or defeated by his enemy. On the whole, he is exactly like Lord Vishnu, who always takes the side of the demigods, who are consequently never defeated by the demons. Durgacharya thus concluded that my child will grow to be exactly like Vishnu in transcendental beauty, qualification, activities, influence, and opulence, and so we should not be very astonished by his wonderful activities. After telling me this, Durgacharya returned home, and since then we have been continually seeing the wonderful activities of this child. According to the version of Gargacharya, I consider that he must be Narayana himself, or maybe a plenary portion of Narayana. When all the cowherd men very attentively heard the statements of Gargacharya through Nanda Maharaj, they better appreciated the wonderful activities of Krishna and became very jubilant and satisfied. They began to praise Nanda Maharaj because by consulting him, their doubts about Krishna were cleared. They said, "Let Krishna, who is so kind, beautiful, and merciful, protect us." When angry Indra sent torrents of rain, accompanied by showers of ice blocks and high wind, he immediately took compassion upon us and saved us and our families, cows and valuable possessions, like picking up the Govardhana hill, just as a child picks up a mushroom. He saved us so wonderfully. May he continue to mercifully glance over us and our cows. May we live peacefully under the protection of Krishna. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 25th.
Hare Krishna. Okay, I'll read this one more. Chapter 27. Praised by Indra, the king of heaven. When Krishna saved the inhabitants of Vrindavan from the wrath of Indra by lifting Govardhan hill, a Surabhi cow from Goloka Vrindavan, as well as King Indra from the heavenly planet appeared before him. Indra, the king of heaven, was conscious of his offense before Krishna. Therefore, he stealthily appeared before him from a secluded place. He immediately fell down at lotus feet of Krishna, although his own crown was dazzling like sunshine. Indra knew about the exalted position of Krishna because Krishna is the master of Indra, but he could not believe that Krishna could come down and live in Vrindavan among the cowherd men. When Krishna defied the authority of Indra, Indra became angry because he thought that he was all in all within this universe and that no one was as powerful as he. But after this incident, his false puffed up prestige was destroyed. Being conscious of his subordinate position, he appeared before Krishna with folded hands and began to offer the following prayers. My dear Lord, Indra said, being puffed up, by my false prestige, I thought that you had offended me by not allowing the cowherd man to perform the Indra Yagna, and I thought that you wanted to enjoy the offerings that were arranged for the sacrifice. I thought that in the name of the Govardhan sacrifice you were taking my share of profit, and therefore I mistook your position. Now by your grace I can understand that you are the Supreme Lord, personality of Godhead, and that you are transcendental to all the material qualities. Your transcendental position is Visuddha Sattva, which is above the platform of the material mode of goodness, and your transcendental abode is beyond the disturbance of the material qualities. Your name, fame, form, quality, and pastimes are all beyond this material nature, and they are never disturbed by the three material modes. Your abode is accessible only for one who undergoes severe austerities and penances, and who is completely freed from the onslaught of material qualities like passion and ignorance. If someone thinks that when you come within this material world you accept the modes of material nature, he is mistaken. The webs of the material qualities are never able to touch you, and you certainly do not accept them when you are present within this world. Your lordship is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. My dear Lord, you are the original father of this cosmic manifestation. You are the supreme spiritual master of this cosmic world, and you are the original proprietor of everything. As eternal time, you are competent to chastise offenders. Within this material world, there are many fools like myself who consider themselves to be the supreme Lord or the all-in-all within the universe. You are so merciful that without punishing their offense, you devise means so that their false prestige is subdued, and they can know that you and no one else are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. My dear Lord, you are the Supreme Father, the Supreme Spiritual Master, and Supreme King. Therefore, you have the right to chastise all living entities whenever there is any discrepancy in their behavior. The Father, the Spiritual Master, and the Supreme Executive Officer of the state are always well-wishers of their sons, their students, and their citizens respectively. As such, the well-wisher have the right to chastise their dependents. By your own desire, you appear auspiciously on the earth in your eternal varieties of forms. You come to glorify the earthly planet and specifically to chastise persons who are falsely claiming to be God. In the material world, there is regular competition between different types of living entities to become supreme leaders of society. And after being frustrated in achieving the supreme position of leadership, foolish persons claim to be God, the supreme personality. There are many such foolish personalities in this world like me, but in due course of time, when they come to their senses, they surrender unto you and again engage themselves properly by rendering service unto you. And that is the purpose of your chastising persons envious of you. My dear Lord, I committed a great offense unto your lotus feet, being falsely proud of my material opulence, not knowing your unlimited power. Therefore, my Lord, kindly excuse me, because I'm a fool number one. Kindly give me your blessings so that I may not act so foolishly again. If you think, my Lord, that the offense is very great and cannot be excused, then I appeal to you that I am your eternal servant. Your appearance in this world is to give protection to your eternal servants and to destroy the demons who maintain great military strength just to burden the very existence of the earth. As I am your eternal servant, kindly excuse me. My dear Lord, you are the Supreme Person of Godhead. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you because you are the Supreme Person and the Supreme Soul. You are the Son of Vasudeva, and you are the Supreme Lord Krishna, the Master of all pure devotees. Please accept my prostrated obeisances. You are the personification of supreme knowledge. You can appear anywhere according to your desire in any in any one of your eternal forms. You are the root of all creation and the supreme soul of all living entities. Due to my gross ignorance, I created great disturbance in Vrindavan by sending torrents of rain and heavy hailstorm. I acted out of severe anger caused by your stopping the sacrifice which was to be held to satisfy me. But my dear Lord, you are so kind to me that you have bestowed your mercy upon me by destroying all my false pride. I therefore take shelter unto your lotus feet, my dear Lord. You are not only the supreme controller, but also the spiritual master of all living entities. Thus praised by Indra, Lord Krishna, the supreme person of Godhead, smiling beautifully said, My dear Indra, I have stopped your sacrifice just to show my causeless mercy and to revive your memory that I am your eternal master. I am not only your master, but I am the master of all the other demigods as well. You should always remember that all your material opulences are due to my mercy. Everyone should always remember that I am the Supreme Lord. I can show anyone my favor and I can chastise anyone, because no one is superior to me. If I find someone overpowered with false pride, in order to show him my causeless mercy, I withdraw all his opulences. It is noteworthy that Krishna sometimes removes all opulences in order to facilitate the rich man's becoming a surrendered soul to him. This is a special favor of the Lord's. Sometimes it is seen that a person is very opulent materially, but due to his devotional service to the Lord, he may be reduced to poverty. One should not think, however, that because he worshipped the Supreme Lord, he became poverty-stricken. The real purpose is that when a person is a pure devotee, but at the same time, by miscalculation, he wants to lord it over material nature, the Lord shows his special mercy by taking away all material opulences until at last he surrenders unto the Supreme Lord. After instructing Indra, Lord Krishna asked him to return to his kingdom, but is always subordinate to his kingdom in the heavenly planet, and to remember always that he is never the supreme, but he is always subordinate to the supreme person of Godhead. He also advised him to remain as king of heaven, but to be careful of his false pride. After this, transcendental Surabhi cow, who also came with Indra to see Krishna, offered her respectful obeisances unto him and worshipped him. The Surabhi offered the prayers as follows. My dear Lord Krishna, you are the most powerful of all mystic yogis because you are the soul of the complete universe, and from you only all this cosmic manifestation has taken place. Therefore, although Indra tried his best to kill my descendant cows in Vrindavan, they remained under your shelter, and you have protected them also well. We do not know anyone else as the supreme, nor do we go to any other god or demigod for protection. Therefore, you are our Indra. You are the supreme father of the whole cosmic manifestation, and you are the protector and elevator of all the cows, brahmanas, demigods, and others who are pure devotees of your lordship. O super soul of the universe, let us bathe you with our milk because you are our Indra. O Lord, you appear just to diminish the burden of impure activities on the earth. In this way, Krishna was bathed by the milk of the Surabhi cows, and Indra was bathed by the water of the celestial Ganga through the trunk of his carrier elephant. After this, the heavenly king Indra, along with Surabhi cows and all other demigods and their mothers, worshipped Lord Krishna by bathing him in the Ganga water and the milk of the Surabhis. Thus Govinda, Lord Krishna, was pleased with all of them. The residents of all higher planetary systems such as Gandharvaloka, Pitraloka, Siddhaloka, and Charanaloka, all combined and began to glorify the Lord by chanting his holy name. Their wives and damsels began to dance with great joy. They very much satisfied the Lord by incessantly pouring flowers from the sky. When everything was very nicely and joyfully settled, the cows overflooded the surface of the earth with their milk. The water of the rivers began to flow and give nourishment to the trees, producing fruits and flowers of different colors and tastes. The trees began to pour drops of honey. The hills and mountains began to produce potent medicinal plants, and valuable stones. Because of Krishna's presence, all these things happened very nicely, and the lower animals who were generally envious were envious no longer. After satisfying Krishna, who is the Lord of all the cows in Vrindavan, who is known as Govinda, King Indra took his permission to return to his heavenly kingdom. He was surrounded by all kinds of demigods who passed with him through cosmic space. This great incident is a powerful example of how Krishna consciousness can benefit the world. Even the lower animals forget their envious nature and become elevated to the qualities of the demigods. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 27th chapter of Krishna, prayers by Indra, the king of heaven. Haribol. Okay, now let's read Shastakam. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagnirvapanam shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritasvadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
नामकारि बहुधामित सर्वशक्ति तत्रार्पिता नियमिता स्मरणेन काल एतादृशी तव कृपा
Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sada hari. Nadanam najanam
जनम न सुंदरीं कविदां
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhu, continue. Haribol. Ainandatanuja kinkaram patita mam vishame bhavam budau kripa tava pada pankaja stita tuli sadrasam vichintaya.
नयनं गलादश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदा हृदया गिरा पुलकेर्निजितं वधूकदा तव नाम गृहणे भविष्यति
Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravirshayitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me.
आश्लिष्य वा पादरदां पिनष्टुमां दर्शनां मर्महदां करोतु वा यदा तदा वा विदधातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः
Haribol. Sri Siksastakam ki jai. Panchatattva ki jai. La Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.